Hi. We're on.
Yes.
We're ready to do this. It's like you got a tube top on there.
Oh, there we go.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, and welcome back to Portland Cocktail Week's Distance Learning. We're just going to wait a few seconds to let some people kind of attend and kind of log in. But let us know where you're from in the chat. We would love to see all the people that are coming in to see our friend Tom here.
Yeah. Hopefully there'll be some people that maybe I'll recognize. I don't know.
I think there's going to be a lot. It seems like you're pretty popular.
Oh, wow. Fingers crossed that there is somebody watching. That'll be good.
All right, guys, let's get started. Again, welcome back to Portland Cocktail Week's Distance Learning. My name is Corey James. I'm sure you guys know me by now. I am the brand ambassador for Montelobos and Ancho Reyes, and today we have an exciting and interactive session for you. So please grab your tins and your bottles so that you can follow along. Now, today's session is sponsored by Montelobos Mezcal, and Montelobos Mezcal has been committed to sustainable farming practices since its inception in 2011. We have established partnerships to fully cultivate all of our varietals of agave, doing our part to avoid deforestation of these plants that have literally been on the earth forever, 11 million years. They have developed a lot of resiliency to all different kinds of pests and predators, but we unfortunately are the only ones that they don't have an immunity towards. So all of our mezcals are also certified organic in 3 different countries, Mexico, USA, and EU, avoiding the use of herbicides or pesticides to cultivate. We currently compost our vinyasa as well, which is the liquid waste left behind after distillation. We mix that with the fiber residues left behind and compost it. And then finally, our products are kosher. Now, Campari has been hosting these modules on Tuesdays and Thursdays throughout all of our crazy lockdowns and beyond, as you know. The talent has been amazing and incredibly inspiring, and I'm going to introduce you to our friend here in just a second. But first things first, please follow Campari Community on Instagram for more info on what our team is up to in the future and now. Also, PDXCW on Facebook and Instagram for more content just like this. And then also the collection of videos are all posted on the Facebook page as well as the YouTube page. So you can revisit those too whenever you have some time if you weren't able to sit here live with us. Also, if you have any questions, please throw them into the Facebook thread throughout the chat and throughout the session, and we will field them appropriately. Now on to our session. Today we're going to be learning some fun tips and tricks from Tom Dyer, our Flair bartender extraordinaire. And if you don't already follow Tom, please do so on Instagram. He's at Tom Dyer. He's a Guinness Book of World Records holder and an incredibly talented Flair bartender. Tom, I think we're all curious about how you got your start in this. So tell us a little bit about yourself and then take it away.
Wow, Corey, you are a seasoned pro at that. That's fantastic.
It's my 47th time.
Sorry?
It's my 47th time.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, thank you very much for having me on, first of all, but from everybody. I really do appreciate being invited to be a part of this. Thank you so much. And yeah, I've been a bartender or Flair bartender for over 20 years. Seems a lot longer when you say that out loud, or it seems a lot shorter when you look at it. But I kind of got into it I just kind of wanted to stand out. It seemed like something pretty cool. And when I was 18, working behind a bar in the UK, I looked about 12 years old back then. So I needed something to kind of stand out a little bit. And I was pretty good at juggling, manipulating objects. And I just kind of picked up Flair, and I saw a competition and started to develop my skills and practice and practice and practice. And I quit university to basically start Flair bartending professionally. Not sure if it was a thing back then, but that's what I tried to do.
Amazing. Well, please, take it away. Let's do some Flair.
Cool. Well, today what I'm going to show to you is eight craft Flair moves, as it's become to be known, or more old school style working Flair moves. And these moves are going to be very easily accessible. I'm also going to teach you some of the moves, Corey, and hopefully one of them with your Montelobos bottle right here. But anybody who is at home trying these moves, obviously try and follow along. I will go fairly quickly. And I do like to give a bit more. So these 8 moves may turn into 20 moves because there's always a little upgrade or a little change you can do from one move to the next. But whilst we're going through this, we are going to make a Montelobos Mezcal Margarita as well. Very, very simple version to show that you can make these moves or perform these moves whilst making a cocktail. So the first one we're going to start off with is an old school classic, and it's called the napkin spin. Now, the way we perform this move, it looks like this, first of all. And it's always one which guests like to try and do because it's with a napkin. It doesn't hurt if it hits you. It doesn't make a noise if you drop it. And it's very easy to perform. So there's 2 actions that you need to get with this. First is the spin of the napkin, which is like throwing a frisbee. And the second one is this motion with your hand. So it's moving your hand up, turning it over and placing it on the bar top. And there's one thing with flair bartending, there's a lot of unnatural actions that you need to get used to be able to perform these moves. So learning what to do with your body and with your hands will be the first step to be able to perform the moves. So if people learn, but first of all by air flair, as I like to call it, spin the napkin up and down. That is the motion, spin, up and down. And then you start to put the 2 together. So with every move I'm going to teach you, we'll break it down into different stages or different steps to be able to perform it. And the first one will be spin, and then you can just hold onto the napkin with the other hand, up and down. So you can learn how to basically manipulate the napkin, and so the napkin stays on the back of your hand. I mean, you can just start simply by that, by holding a napkin and doing this, and that's a nice way to present the napkin. Especially if, you know, whichever bar you're working on, the guest comes up, you're like, hello there, how are you? Would you like a pina colada or a mezcal margarita? And you're opening yourself up, you're creating yourself in a very open stance so that you're more welcoming to your guests. So once you've got the spin, which we're going to go through right now, and that is, the best way I can explain that is if you've got your napkin like so, if it's got a bend in it or a fold in it, which it should do, you want that fold facing away from you, like an arrow slicing through the air. The fold is going to slice through the air so that you're going to get a nice spin on the napkin. If I do it this way, you'll see how much it should be able to spin. What you don't want to do, I'm just going to get my stand-in napkin right here, is throw the napkin like you would throw a frisbee, because that will happen and it's going to go miles away. You want to have a flick of the wrist. It's that flick of the wrist, and that will give you your spin. And then once that napkin is spinning in the air, you do that motion I showed you before, and then you should have the napkin spin.
Well, you just make it look so easy, don't you?
This is the thing, like sometimes I don't know. You'll be able to get it. If you had a napkin, I know you don't have one with you, but I'm sure there's people at home that will be able to get it. Anyway, that's our starting one. We're going to pop our napkin to one side over here, and then we're going to move on to the glass twist. Now, I do know you brought your
I have a glass. I do.
Wine glass with you. Now, let me show you what the move looks like first of all. It's going to be, okay? So you're not letting go of the glass at all. Now, put your hand in front of you.
I'm like,
yeah, I know. Whoa.
How did you have your hand?
You're going to turn your hands inwards.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, that's inwards. That's it. And you want to grab the glass in between your index finger and your middle finger. So it's hanging like this. You're in a really awkward position. Then you're going to swing it over. Yeah, that's it. Now bring your thumb underneath. You want to be in this position as if you're doing.
Okay.
So one more time. So put it back on the bar top or on your table.
Okay.
Turn your hand over.
So you could see it. There we go.
There we go. And you're going to grab it between your index. And then once you turn over, you want to bring your thumb under the glass. So you're there. That's pretty much it. Now from there, you can almost take your middle finger away and you can pinch hold of the stem of the glass with your index finger and your thumb. And then from that point, you're just going to turn it over and place it on the table. So 2 stages. One more time. We'll do it together. Nice and fluid and smooth and sexy. Hand out. Let's do it. Hand out like this. We look super sexy. Yeah. Whoa. Then you're going to swing, grab, turn, bar top. Keep going. Boom! Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
Amazing. I actually I love all of these because it is like that extra level of hospitality that I feel like is really fun for the average consumer to see while you're bartending. Like it's really, I like all this stuff a lot.
It's really simple and quick as well. Like you just see, you've learned how to do that so fast, so quick, so easy. And when you do a quick move like this, your guests, they'll take a second glance, go, well, what happened? What did you do? Like, what's happening there? Did you like it? Yeah. You're like, no problem. Order another cocktail. I'll do it again for you next time. Okay.
Exactly.
So, right, we've got our glass. We can chuck a little bit of ice in that. Let me just grab a little piece of ice. I'm going to be using my hands because I'm at home and we don't have to be sanitary when we're at home, just to get that nice and chilled over there. Then we're going to move on to what I call the ice around the world, using our cocktail shaker. And you'll notice that every step that we're doing here, we can add a flair move. So I can't pick up a shaker without doing something with it. It's just become a weird form of Tourette's for me. I have to spin the shaker open. So this move is super easy as well. So I don't know if you have a shaker there in front of you, Corey, sorry.
I do.
Or I don't know if you have a scoop either. Sorry, I didn't tell you to bring a scoop with you. But we can do it with a small shaker, yes. So you're going to pretend that you've got ice in your small shaker. You're going to put them on the bar top like this. So that's it. This shaker, you're going to grab what we call in tennis grabs. So as if you're playing tennis with the shaker. Exactly. You're going to turn that over in front of you like so. And then this one with the ice, you're just going to hold it as if you're holding a scoop. And what we're going to do is you're going to put the ice in and then you're going to swing it around like this. Now, before you do that, you probably can do it already. We have this special secret move called the hinge, where you're holding onto the shaker with your index finger and your thumb. I think you pretty much got it already. So the whole idea is you put the ice in and you swing over and then you've hinged it in place.
Oh boy.
So you want to start in your tennis grab. Start in your tennis grab like that with the shaker open. That's it. And then you're going to ice and then swing over. There you go. That's it.
Well, that's all the stuff inside there.
The stuff will stay inside. Look. So let me do it one more time. So if you ice goes in, I'll say that again without the ice dropping. Ice goes in.
Yeah.
Then you swing. Now the trick with flair, just before we go any further, the trick with flair and performing any kind of flair bartending tricks is how you perform it. So if I just do this move like this, it's pretty uneventful. But if you just do a bit of accentuation,
that's the word.
It's the word. If you accentuate yourself in the move a little bit more, then you've got a bit more entertainment about what you're doing. You're going to make it a lot more visual. So now normally we'd use the scoop for this one, and we'd have the small shaker in front of us. And this one you're going to get really, really easy without ice in your shaker. Is much easier. So let's just quickly go back and finish this one with the scoop. So this is the ice around the world. Now from this point, we're going to re-hinge into like a reverse grab. So if you're in this, that's it. Now you have your small shaker on the bar top right here, and we need to get that small shaker into the big shaker, but we're not going to throw anything. We're just going to boom.
I think I got it.
When you do it, you're going to slam down and then just keep turning to place it onto the bar top. Remember, boom, and then you're onto the bar top. And now you're ready to make your cocktail, basically.
Yeah.
That's it. See,
I love that.
It is as easy as, I mean, there is another one you can do. This one is even easier. So once we've done the ice around the world, you can literally, you might need to pop your camera down a little bit. You can just, whoop, and just push the small shaker into the large shaker. So turn your small shaker upside down and have it on the edge of your table or your bar top. And you're just going to push and it'll drop inside that big shaker. Easy, lemon squeezy. You could even use the Montelo's bottle to do it. And then you can move on to the next movement. So you're not wasting
wine glass. How's that?
We're moving on to 3-object flair right there. Have you done any flair before, Corey?
No, not at all. I was a bartender for a long time, but no flair. I usually was like this. So, this is great already.
I have this theory that every bartender adds some kind of flair to their bartending technique. Not let's say flair bartending, but every person picks up a bottle out of a speed rail in a certain way, maybe spins a shaker, does something. Every bartender has a certain flair element to them, so I'm sure that you did. Anyway, let's move on to our Monte Lobos pouring movement. Now, this one, again, is really easy, and you're going to need a jigger. I've got myself a Grail jigger right here, and we're going to be pouring 1.5 ounces. And the move we're going to do is what I call the Monte Lobos slide, and then we can pour into our jigger. So it's as easy as that. You're going to hold onto your bottle as if you're going to make a pour. You're going to tip it to one side. Now, my bottle is...
Your bottle is square. Mine is like rectangular. So I'm going to use the bigger side.
So try and use the side without the label if you can, if you've not got
there's the label.
Okay, we'll try and use whichever side that you want. I've got this European bottle right here. And then you can, the great thing about this bottle specifically is that you can tip it almost horizontally, and I'm not getting any spillage. So it makes this move possible, even with a bottle which is full up to the top. Boom. And then, so this one, you could hold it there and then talk to your guest or whatever you need to do, or you can slowly slide it down or whatever it may be. And then you can just work on whichever way you want to catch it. And you can catch it in any particular way that you want and add that extra flick or flurry to the jigger before you come and make your pour. And that's what I love about this.
I've got a question for you there, Tom. Is that a special flair jigger? I don't think I've ever seen a jigger like that before.
No, this is going to be such a shameless plug. This is my own. This is my own jigger. It's called the Grail. There we go. It's called the Grail jigger. I think it's been in the market for a couple of years now. And it's just a regular jigger. It's all one-sided, unlike the cone style jiggers. But it's not anything spectacular, although there is some stuff you can do specifically with this jigger which you can't do with a cone-shaped jigger, and it does look like a tiny little sherry glass, which is useful. Sometimes.
or the Grail, the Holy Grail from Indiana Jones.
Exactly. we nearly called it the Holy Grail, but we could have been in trouble. So
we just good that you stayed away from that.
So, all right, let me just finish off. I'd already poured in about 1 ounce, so I'm going to put another ½ ounce in there. So there we go. So that's our Monte Lobos pour. Then we're going to do the jigger finger twist. Now, with your nice little jigger you've got there, I'll bring over my cone jigger here. Now, it's a quick movement which we're going to learn around our fingers. Now, the trick with this one is really similar to the the glass twist that we did, but it's kind of backwards. So, the way we do this, hang on, let me just, 1, 2, 3. So 3 movements, or 2.5 motions. So the same thing, again, palm of your hand out, facing up. You're going to grab between your index finger and your thumb by the in middle of the jigger. Then you're going to twist or turn it over to hit. Hang on, when I do it slowly, it's much harder. You're going to twist it over, and you're going to get your middle finger behind the jigger. So as you turn, you get your middle finger behind the jigger. So you end up in this position as if you're going to be smoking a cigarette, I guess. No, we shouldn't really say that, but because it got taken out of movies and everything. But thumb finger, okay, twist, index finger comes behind, so in this position, and then you bring your other 2 fingers behind here, and then you turn it over again. Let me see what you're doing.
Okay, wait. So like this.
Yeah. Start with your ounce at the top and your 50 ml at the bottom.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
Yeah. So you got a bit of weight. So that's it.
That. There we
exactly. So you're gonna twist and then twist and get those other fingers behind and twist. Exactly. So now you want to try and put it on your table, and the trick here is again, it's all about how we make it look. You want to bring it from this position to where you're going to be pouring in one 360 motion. So let's see you do it again. I think you've pretty much you've nailed it. You've only gone and nailed it.
This is now my show.
I think I can go. I think you've got it. So.
Oh, this is great.
And you can do that with any jigger. And funnily enough, you say about the grail, I really like it with the grail, not because it's my jigger, but it has more of a swinging motion to it. So you can really
like easier to hold too. You know, like in those awkward positions. Like it looks like it might be easier to hold and spin around. It's like
exactly. So yes, you got it. Anyway, so we need to have half an ounce of our delightful orange liqueur. That's that pour done. Then we are going to do another jigger pour, and this is the infinity pour. Actually, I should have poured that with the agave. So I'll do another pour with the Montelobos. This is the infinity jigger pour. Now, this one, it looks like this. I'm going to pour a shot, and then I'll pour another shot. It looks like this.
Oh gosh.
Oh, and it looks a lot harder than what it actually is. Okay. So,
I think I need to stand up for this one.
What I'm going to do, I'm just going to pop the lid back on the bottle here so that I can show you this in slow motion. It's going to be much easier. Now, okay, so are you left-handed or right-handed, Corey? I think you're right-handed.
Right-handed.
Which side is that? Okay, cool. So jigger in your left hand.
Okay.
And Montelobos in your right. Now, what you're going to do, you're going to cross over and put the Montelobos over the top of your left arm. Then you're going to bring that back. And what you want to try and do is, look at my feet. You got it. That's pretty much good enough. Now, from here, it's a case of untwisting your arm. So you're going to twist over. That's it. Boom, 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 boom. But keep it inside the jigger.
Okay. All right.
So you can almost bring the jigger to the bottle. Some people do that, and then they turn. Woof. So from there, that's it. Twist, twist, twist. Boom. Pour. Hello. As easy as that. So let's just take this lid out again, and let's pop that back in there.
As soon as my husband's on, I'm going to be like, look what I can do. Like, I'm going to be doing all this stuff for my partner.
I really wish, if you want to put some liquid in the bottle and try it with liquid, you can do that.
Because I'm sitting down, probably.
No.
Bar.
The good thing about this pour as well is what people forget is that if you're not pouring so much, people think you're going to be pouring loads and loads and loads. You're still going to be pouring as you're pouring into a jigger. But because the jigger is inside the pour spout is inside the jigger, you're pouring very, very slowly. So you have a lot more time to be able to perform the move and get the liquid that you need. So, whoop.
Yeah.
And then you can pop that into your cocktail. This is going to be a nice, strong Montelobos Mezcal Margarita. Let's put a bit more orange curacao in there as well. So here we go. Right. Now we're going to make our cocktail. I'm going to put a bit of agave syrup in there. If you don't have agave syrup, you can just use sugar syrup, obviously. And then I've got a couple of moves which I haven't put onto my list, but I've forgotten what this was called then for a second. The Mexican elbow. Jesus, that was a tough one. The Mexican elbow nunchucks, which I think every bartender has tried to do at least once behind their bar. And as I said, when you are performing flair, a lot of the time it's just about how you manipulate your objects around and how you move your body to be able to perform these moves. And my knife gone. There is a more difficult move you can do with the Mexican elbow. Let's see if I can get this on the first try. Yes! Oh. Anyway.
It really honestly just looks like you're being very deliberate with your movements, and then that inherently is flair, right? Like, you could basically do anything as long as you are moving in the not just flailing around. You know?
Exactly. You know the funny thing as well about flair is that when I write flaring, sometimes the R turns into an L and it just says flailing. So I'm like, pretty much the same thing.
Stop judging me.
So, all right, so we've got that. We do have a couple other little moves I want to show, really simple ones. You've got a tin on tin there, right? So put it together as if you're going to be shaking a cocktail. I'm going to show you the double palm spin. Oh, sounds
really... I used to try this one all the time, and I was always worried that it was just going to spin right out of my hand onto the floor.
Well, you know the palm spin, right? The palm spin,
No, I could never do that one.
So with the larger shaker, to use the large shaker, you kind of hold it in this weird position, so you're ready to. So let's put it like this: if you hold the shaker like this in between your fingertips, that's it, and then you want to twist it inwards, but onto the palm of your. So you want it on the palm of your hand, on your knuckle. But that's the starting position. Then you're going to spin it back the other way. Does that make sense?
Like this.
Yeah. So you want to spin it away from you.
It's harder than it looks. This is the hardest one I remember. I used to watch people do it all the time, and I'd be like, yeah, I could do that, and I never could.
Right. Well, the double palm spin is much easier. I can assure you that. Let me just use an empty one to begin with, just so I can show you how to do this. The double palm spin is basically just a double holding onto both shakers. That's it. But try and get it letting go with your fingers and just spinning it on your knuckles. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, you can manipulate it in your fingers. At the end of the day, it happens so quickly that no one really bats an eyelid. Now, oh yes, it didn't fall apart. That's good. Let me just shake this up. So talk amongst yourselves for a moment. There we go. That'll do. This is going to be a massive one. I'm sure somebody else is here to share this with me. Now,
hand it over.
Sorry?
Hand it over.
I'll send it in the post for you. Maybe a little bit diluted by it, but I'll send it. The last move I'm going to show you is a nice little strainer move like this. And exactly what you just said a minute ago is about doing moves deliberately. Is flair. So I'm not really doing anything. I'm just flailing around a strainer and putting it onto the top of the shaker. But you can do an upgrade for this. So you can do a little toss over to the other hand if you want to, but just simply bringing it up like this and placing it onto the top of the shaker, because a lot of people have their strainers there. So you're not actually doing anything extra other than spinning it around to bring up your strainer to shake your cocktail. Another little finger twist with my cocktail glass. We can do a little spin with our, what's that called? Fine strainer. Forgetting my words. There we go. And then I'm going to bring in a nice snazzier napkin right here that I've got with another napkin spin. We can even add in this one you'll like is a napkin slide.
That was pretty good.
Then, boom, happy days. Let's get a nice garnish on there as well, just because why not? A little bit of a squirt of lime peel. And that is our Montelobos Mezcal Margarita made with flair. That is delicious. Thank you very much. But, so, that is it. That's how you do flair while making a cocktail. Simple as that, Corey. I think you nailed quite a lot of the moves there.
I don't have all the tools here, but I feel like you definitely you helped me gain a lot of non-flailing knowledge.
Non-flailing is the key. Now, to go back, I mean, a lot of people associate flair with things such as this, like throwing around your objects and a lot of sort of juggling motions and movements.
Yeah.
But it is a lot more about those deliberate movements that you're performing whilst making a cocktail. And all those moves I've just shown you today, they are the starters of basically being able to perform flair in a much, much more broader spectrum. Like the napkin, there's another 10 moves you can perform with the napkin. With the jigger, there's another 100 moves. Well, it's an infinity amount of moves that can be performed, which don't involve having to throw objects, don't involve having to learn how to juggle to be able to perform them. And flair bartending, I think, has a misconception sometimes that it's a lot more about, woo, let's just go crazy. But it's now become this cool aspect. You're seeing it a lot on social media, a lot of bartenders manipulating objects in such a way which people don't associate with flair bartending. But when I see it, it's 100% flair bartending. I know that may sound confusing to some people, but it's exactly what you said. It's moving in a deliberate way to accentuate your bartending technique, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go
ahead.
No, go on, carry on.
I actually have a question for you. It's not from anyone in the group. I'm just very curious for you to tell us what your world records are. Obviously, we need to talk about that quickly.
Well,
I'm super excited.
Well, I did have, let's say, 3 world records. I think I'm down to 1 now. The 3 were most amount of hand stalls in 1 minute. So that is how to flip a bottle on the back of your hand. So I think I had about, I can't remember, about 100 in a minute. So you have to really flip the bottle quite fast, and you're hitting 2 or 3 flips in a minute. I think I just cut myself. No, I'm just kidding. I did have the arm bumps, so 4 arm bumps, which were like this. And that was just consecutively, I think I had about 20 odd. I think it's been smashed now. It's on like 37 or something. And I currently have the most amount of elbow bumps, which looks like this. Hang on, let me just get it into position. Please hit more than 3. There we go. Okay.
Wow, that's impressive.
I'm sorry?
That's impressive. Very impressive.
The funny thing with the elbow bumps, I shouldn't really say this, but there's other people out there that can do more. They just have to send their videos into to Guinness. So not to downplay my record so much, but I was the lucky one many years ago that Guinness contacted and said, we want to set some flair bartending world records. Will you be our guinea pig, basically? So I was like, by all means, yes. So yeah, it was pretty cool to be able to do that. They did have other records that they wanted to set, but they wanted a minimum amount of spins or throws to be able to set them. So without going into details, they never got set, unfortunately. Although what we were doing was pretty tough in the first place. So there you go. Those are my record. That is my 1 record for now, which is the elbow bumps, which is on 62, I believe.
Amazing.
Thank you very much.
Did you have any other tips and tricks for us, or was it just those ones?
Well, the other thing of what I was going to say is when you are using flair behind the bar is, as I said, that the classic style of throwing objects around is what people associate. They think Tom Cruise, they think juggling, they think a lot more sort of Vegas style bartending. But flair behind the bar and flair on stage are 2 very different things. So the elbow bumps, the bumps here, the throwing over the shoulder, things like this, you wouldn't necessarily use that behind the bar. So when people are using flair behind the bar, it should be these quick, fast movements which don't slow down your service. And I could sit here and go through every single object that we've got in front of us and show you different moves. But what I suggest to anybody watching is to make sure that whatever cocktails they're making, whatever bottles they've got in their speed rail, whatever objects that they're using, that they try, if they want to incorporate flair bartending into their repertoire of bartending skills, to think up a move with each item. So if every time they pick up this shaker, they're going to do a thumb roll. Every time they're going to pick up this glass, they're going to roll it down their arm. Or every time they're going to pick up this spoon, they can spin it in their fingers so that it becomes the way that you pick it up. You know, like I said at the beginning, when I pick up my shakers, all my shakers are dirty now, hang on 1 second. When I pick up my shakers, I can't help but add a thumb roll or a palm spin or whatever it may be. So it becomes second nature for me that when I pick something up, I have to manipulate, I have to flair with it. So if people are learning how to flair, if they think, okay, every time I pick up a spoon, I'm going to make this movement, it will just become second nature. It won't even be that, you know, they pick up a spoon like a regular human being anymore. They will want to add that twist or that flurry. So that you'll end up with one move with all the items and all the bottles behind the bar. So for example, if you're picking up the Monty Lobos, you may want to throw it up and catch up the back of your hand, or maybe you want to do a little swipe like this, or you could go as far as to throwing it behind your back, or you could do a little finger twist with the bottle and then come and make your pour. So there's a million different things that you can do with all of these items, and finding that one move with each one will be the stepping stone to then start trying to create more moves, trying to add more ideas to the moves that you already know. And it will snowball from there. So as I said at the beginning, like I was practicing, 10 hours per day. It's unnecessary for anybody who wants to learn to add flair to their skills behind the bar. Half an hour before the shift, thinking, right, today I'm going to spin the spoon around my thumb every time I pick it up. Within a couple of days, they'll just be doing that without even thinking about it. With just the same way I'm doing to you, talking to you, they'll be spinning the spoon around their thumb. So it's a very, very easy thing to do, flair bartending, as long as you just give it a little bit of time, a little bit of focus. People will be able to do it without even thinking. And as I said to you, I mean, in my eyes, every bartender in some way or the other is a flair bartender, because every bartender has their way to shake whatever it may be, and that's adding flair to their bartending career. Every bartender probably has that palm spin or that thumb roll or that spoon twist, or the way that they pick up their bottle with a spin, perhaps. I'm sure we've seen every bartender do that. Even down to, let me just pop up that pour spout, even down to how people remove a lid from a bottle. They'll have a way to do it like this, where they'll twist the lid or twist the bottle. They'll even hold it in a particular way, like so, within their fingers. And they're doing that because they want to add that style, they want to add that flair to their bartending technique. And the last thing I'll say on it is, I always look at how bartenders make cocktails and the techniques that we use to make drinks. When I started 20 years ago, we had build, just about muddle, kind of, from my experiences, shake, strain, whatever, but throwing or rolling wasn't around when I was bartending. I know that people performed it or used it in bars or cocktail bars around the world, but it was very, very, very rare. Now we've seen a resurgence of throwing. One, because people are obviously looking back into history and wanting to utilize old techniques or different techniques for making cocktails, but it looks cool. It looks super cool.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, if you had the option to make your Bloody Mary with a nice rolling technique like this, or you wanted to throw it in a really nice and fancy way, you would choose a really cool, fancy throwing technique, which in my eyes is a way of showing some flair bartending skills whilst making your cocktails. So, I mean, flair, as I said, is super easy for anybody who wants to get into it. It's just giving that little bit of time, little bit of focus, and starting with those 8 moves or 10 moves or whatever we showed today. Really simple stuff. We're not throwing anything. Not sure if anybody realized that, but we didn't throw anything in the air except for the napkin. But as we said, napkins don't hurt, they don't break, they don't hurt anybody else. And with a little bit of practice, people can really take it to another level. And with everybody's imagination and everybody's personality, which is all completely different, if you put that into your own tricks, moves, ideas, or flair bartending skills, there'll be such a huge repertoire of really, really cool flair bartending tricks, tips, ideas, and bartenders out there, which will just snowball more and more and more.
I actually, a lot of people I remember when I first started, they would kind of give flair bartenders a hard time. And I always remember thinking that's such like a cool thing to do for that hospitality aspect. And I feel like the hospitality moment here, especially in the US, is kind of dying a little bit. So just to do those little things to add that added value, give that added value to the guest that's sitting in front of you, I think is extremely important. So I think that this whole thing wrapping around hospitality and also flair is like a really cool way to kind of wrap up, like this is all, it's all the same. We all need to do the same thing. Hospitality is hospitality.
Exactly. It is a form of service. People go out for a cocktail, for a good tasting cocktail. They want the atmosphere or an experience, depending on what you're going out for. And if you can add that little element of entertainment or surprise to your guests, they may Instagram it, they may post it, they may tell their friends about it, but as a bartender, you're adding to their experience that evening. So if you can help by adding a few tricks to your technique, then I'm sure it's only gonna help your bar, help your bartending career, and give something extra to your customers.
And put more money in your pocket, maybe?
Exactly.
You'll probably get better tips. Like, let's be honest.
Exactly.
Oh man. Well, listen, we don't have any questions in our group chat, but before we wrap up, I just wanted to reiterate: if you enjoyed this session, please hit the like button or the love button and show some love in the comments. And if you want to see more Portland Cocktail Week classes just like this one, please follow Portland Cocktail Week on Facebook and then also on YouTube. It's just facebook.com/PDXCW and then youtube.com/PDXCW. All of the classes are archived there. And then we're also at PDXCW on Instagram, and you can find out what's coming up next there. And then also, please, again, follow Campari Community or myself, Ancho Hancho, for the latest Campari news or the latest Montelobos and Ancho Reyes news. Before we wrap up, Tom, did you have any closing remarks?
Close. Not really. I think just everybody to give themselves a chance to try out something, try some of these tricks, and to enjoy it. Just enjoy yourself when you're bartending. Don't take yourself too seriously. We're not saving lives here. We are making cocktails, and I think that's the most important thing, is to make sure that if you enjoy it, everybody else will enjoy it as well.
See, that is the perfect closing remark. Don't take yourself too seriously, people. Clearly we don't. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time on Portland Cocktail Week's Distance Learning. Thanks, Tom. It was lovely to see you, and thank you again.
All the best. Cheers. Take care. Bye-bye.